This is where the money is, folks. The more you can anticipate, be proactive, and figure out how to manage your loan officer or manage your boss, the more money you'll make, because you'll make things easier for them and they will even have to think less. So if you're doing all the thinking for them, you'll find that you're making more money as an assistant. In order to become a mind reader, first you got to start with, what do they want? So what are their goals? Not only are you talking about business goals, but it might be things like, I want to be able to go to my child's sporting games, or I want to be able to pick them up from school. One of their goals might be they want to take a vacation. I had a boss I worked with. She was gone for a month. To Hawaii. The rest of the staff didn't know she was gone because I was able to handle her desk, handle her communication in a way where they didn't really notice that she had come and gone. And if you can get to that level, I guarantee you will see a lot of perks with that. That boss gave me a down payment on a car, as well as paid for a trip to Paris for my 30th birthday. So lots of good things come with that. So not only what are their goals, but how are they going to get there? And we'll talk about that later in terms of like a metrics. And then what is your role in that journey? So they have their goals, they have how they're going to get there. As the assistant or as the support person, how are you going to help them reach that goals? And then we'll talk about managing your boss. Where do they want to go? So these are really pinpointing on their goals. So we talked about personal goals, but also business goals. When you're asking a loan officer what their goals are, start with, how much do they want to close? So you can break that down into how many units or how many loans or dollar amount. So say, for example, let's start with just kind of an easy number, easy math. Say they want to close $12 million for the whole year. That's $1 million for each month. Now, you would have to ask your loan officer what's their average loan amount, so that way you could figure how many loans you would have to average each month in order for them to meet their goal. And that's something that then you can track throughout the year, throughout the month, throughout the quarter, so that you can really push to make sure that you are staying on track for their goals. They may have work schedule goals. So we talked about making it to maybe some family obligations, child events, or time with their family or spouse that may have to do with their work schedule. Say they only want to work 4 days out of the week. They want to limit how they're working on the weekends. So what are some things that you can support them with so that they can reach their work schedule goals? So you want to make sure you're having this conversation with your loan officer so that you understand where they want to go and what your role will be in helping them to get there. Once you know where they want to go, you got to map out how to get there. So I collected some quotes. Some of them I, personally like myself. Others I found that might be inspiring to other people. So I wanted you to just have these as a reference here. You can take a screenshot of these quotes, maybe pick out one or two that inspire you and put them somewhere. We'll also share them with your loan officer. We have goals, or you have things that you want to accomplish in your business or your personal life, but unless we map out how we're going to get there, we're kind of aimlessly sort of going down this road and not really knowing how we're going to get to our destination. So it's really important to map out a plan to get there. So in this video, we're primarily talking about how you can be a mind reader, how you can manage your boss, but you also want to think about your own you want to think about you as an assistant, as your own role. What are your business goals, and how are you going to get there as well within supporting someone else? In order to be successful in your role, which equates to managing your boss, is building up trust. Now, you will not become the supervisor, obviously, of your boss, but you're learning how to manage their time, manage their calendar, manage their day so that they become more efficient. You as a team become more efficient, and it opens up the opportunity for them to meet with people, to prospect for new business, to have client calls and interactions. So the things that you're handling, you need to be clear on that. What are they going to delegate to you so that you're taking things off their plate and you are managing their day, you're managing their desk. I had a boss where I worked with her for many years, and one of the tools that she delegated to me was email management. So initially it started with just sort of organizing her inbox, but also I was reviewing how she responded to emails. She would copy me on emails or blind copy me so I could see how she was responding. Then I started to draft emails. So I would go through and make a bunch of drafts of how I think she would respond to the email. And then she would review all those drafts, give me feedback on if that was good or she would have tweaked it, and then she would send them out. Once she got comfortable with how I was drafting the emails, she fully released me and said, okay, you can send out emails on my behalf. If you're not sure, you could still put it in the draft folder and I'll review before it gets sent out. So that's one way in order to do that. Another thing that you're managing, which you may not expect, is you're sensitive to your boss's emotions. So there could be things that happened in the personal life where it is harder to show up for work. And that goes for yourself as well. But that's just human nature, right? If something's happened in your personal life, it may affect how you show up at work. And so a way that you could protect your loan officer or your supervisor is to possibly gatekeep. So if there's a day where they really need to not have a lot of meetings and you can take things off of their plate, that helps gatekeep, helps protect them. And so part of gatekeeping is not just filtering who gets to interact with your boss, but also giving them the space and time they need if necessary. But primarily gatekeeping is normally filtering who gets access to your person, kind of triaging, the situation. So if someone is, hey, I need to speak to the loan officer, perhaps you're asking some probing questions to get more information so that if you do pass them along to your loan officer, you can kind of quickly brief them and say, this is a person that wants to speak to you. They have asked for this, this, and this. And that way your loan officer knows exactly what to expect when they call them back or before the call is transferred over. They are well prepared instead of having to spend the time then probing and finding out what the issue is. So the more you can gatekeep and keep things from getting to your boss that you can handle or delegate to someone else, the better for your person. And then don't be afraid to name drop. So if you are trying to contact someone, whether it be a business partner or someone internal, be sure that if you need to drop your loan officer's name, go ahead and do that and say, Tressa asked me to give you a call because she was looking for this information from you. Tressa is looking forward to meeting with you, but she had to step into something real quick, so she asked me to give you a call and ask you a few questions so she'll be well prepared for the meeting. So the more you can kind of name drop, that also gives the person assurance that you have authority to speak on behalf of the loan officer. So the most important thing is in your role is building up that trust so that the loan officer can delegate more things to you. It takes things off of their plate. So part of your success as a loan officer assistant is building up trust between the people that you're supporting. One element of that is called catching the ball. So that's the loan officer or loan officers have assigned you or delegated to you and asked you to do something, and you need to acknowledge receipt. I've received what you asked me to do. I will get back to you, end of the day or whatever the timeline is. So make sure you're catching the ball, saying, hey, I got the assignment. When do you need this back? Do I have a week? Do I have a day? Etc. Make sure you are catching the ball, and this will build up trust with the loan officer. They know that if they, metaphorically throw something at you, that you're going to catch it and you're going to take care of the task that they've assigned to you. So I have a fun little clip from, I think this movie is from the 90s. This is their first job as an assistant, and their boss is kind of telling them how they expect them to sort of catch the ball or acknowledge receipts.
Oh, one more thing, and this is so important. Whenever we're not alone or I'm on the phone and I ask you something, doesn't matter what it is, you always say, I'm right on top of that, Rose. Okay? Okay. Welcome aboard, sweetie. Thank you.
So that's something you can kind of keep in the back of your head. I'm right on top of that, Rose, as a way to catch that ball, to acknowledge that you're receiving something from the loan officer. I highly recommend that you watch movies that do have an assistant. A success story where, I showed you Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. We're about to watch a clip from The Devil Wears Prada. There's movies like The Associate, Working Girl, movies where you can watch an assistant and kind of get tips on maybe how you can interact with your boss. Now, there may be some things that you shouldn't do, but there's definitely some tips that you can learn from watching some of these movies. So let's watch the next clip.
One copy. What are my twins going to do with that? Share?
Oh no, I made 2 copies and had them covered, reset, and bound so that they wouldn't look like manuscripts. This is an extra copy to have in file, just in case.
Well, where are these fabulous copies? I don't see them anywhere.
They're with the twins, on the train on the way to Grandma's. Is there anything else I can do for you?
That's all.
Okay.
So see how that was anticipatory? She anticipated the person that she's assisting asked her to do something. She not only did the task, but anticipated other things that the person would need. So she got the book, the unreleased copy of the book that the boss asked for, and then also got extra copies for the children. Being proactive, anticipating the next move that's going to bring you great success as you are assisting someone. All right, we covered basically how to become a mind reader, and that is managing your boss, really understanding where it is they want to go, how we're going to get there, and what your role is in that. What can you take off their plate so they can get to their goals faster? Because the more money they make, the more money you should also make as an assistant, because they can share that success with you. So as you are figuring out what you can take off your plate, that's where you're building that training list of things that you need to learn how to do. So whether that's learn how to manage their email, those are things that take time. Maybe software they need you to learn, or actual technical skills like how to pre-qualify someone, how to set up a client consultation. Those are some things you might need training on. So you're building up that list of what you need training on so they can come back to me and say, Tressa, I need help with this. As they're delegating to you, you're earning more and more trust. So that way you can step into more authority, gatekeep for them, name drop for them. Both of you can then be on that road to success. I want to encourage you to drop any challenges that you're having in the comments, so that way I can address through a future video. So share what you're having challenges in the comments, and jump into our school community. You can join the group of people that we are building there. We're going to be helping each other overcome challenges and celebrate each other's success. All right, see you soon.